If you're looking to add a very easy, eye-catching design to your sketchbook, I will talk you through each step. You'll need a sketchbook and a thick piece of paper to prevent marker bleed through. You'll need a yellow and a darker yellow, an orange and a green, and a neutral gray and a black. First, place the thicker piece of paper under your sketchbook page. That'll help prevent marker bleeding through to the page underneath. And we are going to start off with 3 larger balloons. So for this top one on the top third of your page, draw 3 raindrop shapes. They're all slightly overlapping and they're all about the same size. Then draw a sideways oval off to the right and then a circle off to the left. You'll do that same thing on the bottom third of your page. So the 3 raindrop shapes, this will form the very top of the petal. And then you'll draw a sideways oval, kind of a diagonal oval, over on the right side, and then a circle on your left side. And do that once more on the left side of the page. You can adjust this to whatever size sketchbook you're working on. If you've got a smaller one or a larger one, just follow the general guidelines that I'm giving you, such as the top third of the page, bottom third of the page, and you'll end up with a design that fits. Now between those bottom 2 flowers, we're going to add a little flower bud. You'll draw a U shape and then a slightly waved shape on top of that. That'll form the top petals. We'll do that a few more times around the page. So at the upper left, draw a small U shape and then do that waved pattern. Alternate the wave a little bit on each of these U shapes so that you get slightly different looking flower buds. We'll add a slightly longer, more narrow one here. And then let's place one more down at the bottom between the bud and the flower. So we'll add a teensy little baby one here. Little baby wave. Okay, great. Now come back in with the brush tip of your marker. You're using the yellow at this point, and fill in all of the flowers and all of the buds. This will be kind of a meditative process. Just let yourself enjoy it. You don't have to think about what you're drawing at this point. You're just filling in the shapes. Now you'll take your darker yellow and on this top petal, outline the edge of that top petal and then start flicking the color up through the sides and the middle, and then do that same thing on the bottom left petal. On this flower, we'll do roughly the same thing, but it'll be on the right petals. So do this on the 2 right petals, outline the edge, and then flick some darker shadows through the center of the flower. On this bottom larger flower, we'll do the same thing that we did on the top flower. So focus on the top middle petal, and then do that bottom left petal. And trust the process here. This will look amazing at the end of everything. Now we're going to add some of that dark yellow to the buds. You don't need to add a lot here because these are really pretty small. You just want to emphasize one of the sides of the bud and then flick a little bit of the color up into the center of the flower. Once you've worked your way around all the flowers and the buds with that, you will take your orange color and we'll start to add that to the flowers. And we're going to add that to different petals than where we added the dark yellow. So on this top flower, focus the orange on the two right petals. And on this second flower, focus it on the two left petals. Don't worry if you get a little bit of overlap between the yellow and the orange. That's perfectly fine if it blends together a little bit. That's the nice thing about alcohol markers is that they do blend pretty well when the colors run up against each other, and it creates a really nice effect. On this bottom flower, we'll focus again on the two right petals. You're emphasizing the edges of those and then adding some little lines, little curves through the center. Now you'll continue with adding some orange to the buds and focus on adding it to roughly a third of each of those. And that way they'll have all three colors and it'll give them some really nice dimension. As we work through this entire sketch, we're going to end up covering your entire sketchbook page. This will be really dramatic, really beautiful. If you like this kind of design, let me know and I will cook up some other ones for you because there are tons of different colors that we could use and we could make a lot of different sizes of flowers. Like I'm picturing some really big blooms across the page. So if that sounds interesting to you, let me know in the comments. Let's add some centers to our flowers. So you'll take the black and draw a straight line and then a curved line just over that and fill it in. You'll do that on all three of the larger flowers, straight line and then a curved line just on top of that. And then we're going to add 4 dashes of varying lengths to each of those curves. Once you've completed that, go back around and add a small dot to the end of each of those dashes, and that will complete the center of those 3 larger flowers. They are looking good, you're doing great, and the next step will be to start adding some green. So take a very dark green, and on each of the buds you're going to emphasize just the bottom of that U shape, and then add a little bit of a wavy line just above that. You'll focus this just on the buds. The larger flowers, you wouldn't be able to see this part of it, so we won't worry about those. So again, you're emphasizing just the very bottom of that U shape, and then create a bit of a waved line above that and fill it in so that none of the other colors are peeking through. Now you'll start adding stems. So you'll do a very thin green stem from the flower down to the very bottom of the page. And you'll do that for all of the flowers. And some of these you're going to have to, like with this one, the stem goes behind a flower and then continues down to the bottom. So just use your mind's eye and imagine where that's going behind the flower. It happens again here and then carries down to the very bottom of the page. If you have lines that are very close together like that and you're not certain that you'll be able to do that, you could always use a straight edge or a ruler to guide your marker on the way down. It will look a little bit more natural though if the stem has a little bit of a wave and a waver to it, so don't worry about being too perfect with this. Next you will come in and start adding leaves, and we're going to do this on the right side of the stems to start off with. And they can be large, so I put a fairly large leaf on this little baby petal. We want it to be a little out of proportion to how it would look in real life. So you can just have fun with this and have some of them extend off the page like I'm doing here. And you're basically going to work your way all the way across the page. So again, just focusing on the right side of the stems for right now. And some of these leaves will go behind some of the flowers like I'm doing here. And you'll scatter these all throughout the page and then come back and do the left side. Once you've added leaves all the way across your page on all of the stems, you'll come back in with your brush tip and fill in all of the leaves with this really beautiful, deep, rich green. You've finished off the leaves. We are going to go ahead with our very last step, which will be adding a cool gray to the background. I'm marking off the top here with a couple of lines just to make it easier to stay within the border. When you're working around a lot of space like this, it's easiest to segment it into smaller sections. So you can see that I'm doing that here, and you can do that on your sketchbook as well, and then you'll just fill in each section as you go. This makes it a lot more digestible, and it'll help you keep track of where you've placed color and where you have yet to go. finish off that last little bit and then stand back and enjoy this beautiful creation that you made in your sketchbook. Be sure to subscribe for more easy and beautiful flower tutorials. My name is Sarah, and I hope to see you again soon.